Ephesians chapter 1. I hope that, see a few visitors and things like that. If you're visiting, truly, we are so thankful that you are here. When you come, hopefully, I hope that this is your experience, that when you come, that you have felt absolutely loved from beginning to end. As you come in and as you leave. I know this, that I can't control what the Bible says and what it teaches. But what I can do is love you as much as I possibly can when you come in, and that you feel absolutely loved as you're sitting, that you feel comfortable as much as I can possibly make. But I also have this conviction that all of us are to stay as close to the Bible as we possibly can when we preach, when we talk, when we live. You know what I mean? There's some things that I just don't have any say or control over. One of them, and this is what I hope. Even if you hear this message and you go, dude, you are so far out in left field, and you might go, you've got some really weird beliefs, but you know what? I knew they loved me, you know? I mean, you came up with some weird stuff there, and I've never even heard what you were talking about over on this side. But you know what? When I came in here, I knew my kids were going to be taken care of. And when I came here, I felt welcomed, and no matter what. Because this is what I believe, okay? I believe this is what the Bible teaches, is that 2,000 years ago, Jesus came to the earth, and when he came for 33 years, he lived and did everything that the Father asked of him, okay? In fact, what he says, Jesus says, everything that the Father says, that's what I say. And he says, everything that the Father tells me to do, that's what I do. And all of the miracles that I perform, he says, it's the Spirit of God doing those through me, you know? And if you're not like well-versed in Christianity, or if you just came in, if this is the first time you've been in church and that kind of stuff, you go, okay, that's different, that's weird, that's a little crazy. And if you think that's crazy, I'm not even done, all right? It gets a little worse, okay? I believe that this same man who, he rose the dead, he healed blinded eyes, people who couldn't talk, he was able to loosen their tongue, they were able to talk. He was able to do some miraculous things. But that's not even the most, if you think that that's crazy, wait for this. This same Jesus was betrayed by one of his friends. He was beaten and mocked, and he was beaten so much that he tells his own mom, I'm your son. You know, like he was beyond recognition. Crown of thorns was placed on him, and for 6 hours the Son of God, that's what he claimed to be, was hanging on a cross for 6 hours. And he didn't try to get revenge, and he did not try to, in fact, the opposite. He looks down at the very people that had put him on the cross, and even though all he had ever done was feed them and help them and heal them and preach the good news to them and love them, and, for all of this time, they put him on a cross, and he looks down and says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Listen, raise the dead, okay, that's something, but look down on the very people that have nailed you to a cross and say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, that's next level. Oh, but if you think that that's too hard to believe, I am not even done. You see, the same Jesus who is hanging on a cross, and ultimately he dies on this cross. There's a Roman soldier who takes a spear and sticks it into his side, and the Bible says that blood and water came out. They say that it's possible that this spear could have even just destroyed his heart, just exploded. And they took that body, that same exact body that had been hanging for 6 hours, beaten, and crown of thorns, spear in his side, and they took that body and they laid it in a tomb, okay? And for 3 days, the Bible says that he was in that tomb. Now, you ready for this last part? According to the Bible and according to a whole bunch of people, over 500 who witnessed, who literally said, I saw with my eye the same Jesus that was on that cross, beaten, crown of thorns on his head, spear in his side. We saw him die. We saw him, and put in this tomb. And the Bible says that 3 days later, that body, that one, came to life. Now, I think that's awesome. But I can get it if you're not into church stuff and Bible stuff, and maybe if this was like the first time you kind of came around, you would go, are you trying to tell me, okay? Are you trying to tell me that a guy that was crucified on a cross and beaten the way that you just described, he was in a tomb for 3 days with no medical help, no medical doctors looking over, none of that. He was just laying there for 3 days, and you're telling me that that same body that was in that tomb for 3 days came up, and let me do you one better. He didn't come out hobbling. He didn't come out limping. He came out with power. Like the Son of God, glorified, come out of a tomb, angels sitting on it saying, who are you looking for again? Because he said he's not here anymore. He's risen, like he said. Like that Jesus, okay? Now, again, sometimes I say those things so often, that gospel message so often, that I forget sometimes to sit back and kind of stand back and pretend, what if I had never heard that before? And what if somebody had just come up to me and I had no clue, and they tried to tell me that story, And I would go, you know what? I have conducted many a funeral, and I've been to even more than that. And I have never, in every one of them, ever expected after 3 days that person was getting up. And now you're trying to tell me that a person beaten to death, killed on a cross, rose on the third day? Yes. I believe that with all my heart, soul, and strength. I will take it to my grave for 1,000 years if I get to live that long. We'll continue to preach that message. Over 500 people said, I saw him. All right? I saw it with my own eyes. And then every one of them died saying, I saw it, I can't deny it. He was dead on Friday, he's alive on Sunday, and I saw him with my own eye do a Superman up into the sky. Saw it. I can't deny it. What are you going to do? What am I going to do? And that is the stumbling block that I get. I understand if you are a not follower of Jesus, or church has just not been your thing, and things like that. I get it. I just want to let you know. I get it. If you want to think that that's crazy, I'm with you.